This news update is brought to you by...
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
It's your sun power.
This is the 6 p.m. Barbados Today update for Monday, May the 25th, 2014. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. We begin this evening with a firm caution to the government. Stop the political interference. Assistant General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Dwayne Paul, wants the government to step away from hiring and firing of workers at state-run boards. Speaking at the end of a 2-hour meeting at the Solidarity House earlier today to update retrenched staff of the National Conservation Commission on the next step in their dispute, Paul described the employment practices of state-run boards as a mess.
The mismanagement of this process has resulted in injuries to a number of workers. At the end of the day, the sad thing about this is that workers will still be displaced. And regardless of which side of the political divide you're on, we need to focus on finding ways to restoring the employment levels of Barbados to what they previously were. And that is, to me, the only thing that will vindicate these workers and bring satisfaction to all.
For its part, the National Union of Public Workers says it's been receiving strong complaints from its NCC members about their terminal benefits as well as the terms and conditions of their service. NUPW General Secretary Dennis Clark is anxious for the Employment Rights Tribunal to get down to business to tackle their issues and end the impasse.
I would expect by Friday this matter will be settled, because both the Prime Minister and the Minister of Labour said that they were going to expedite things. That is not their word, but that is our understanding. And I think they clearly understand the gravity of the situation and the need for the tribunal to meet and get this matter resolved by Friday the latest. We have a lot of work to do with the NCC management, and we have a lot of work to do with the terminal benefits that the workers have so far been given. We are hoping that at the tribunal that we will be able to have that corrected.
It's not a case of bad timing, but more of a perfect opportunity for the opposition Barbados Labour Party to tackle its internal problems. That's how political scientist Peter Wickham views reports that some party members are pressing the National Executive Council to discipline members who breach party rules. Wickham tells Barbados Today it's useful that party members remind dissident colleagues that they can be disciplined. But even more than that, he says, if the BLP is to ready itself for power, it must confront its problems head-on.
The Barbados Labour Party has to settle these issues at some stage, and I think that this is perhaps a better time. I think it's painfully clear to all of us now that the Barbados Labour Party will not be called to action in terms of an election anytime soon. I think it is also clear that the Barbados Labour Party's ability to wrest power from the Democratic Labour Party could very well be affected by these concerns about infighting within the organization. So I think it really is incumbent upon the Barbados Labour Party to settle all of these matters now as opposed to later, because we are already 1 year out from an election, and I think that certainly you would want that as an election becomes 2 years away and the possibility of a poll becomes imminent, that the party be in far better shape than it is currently and has been able to deal decisively with these issues.
There's a call for the government to rename the Fairchild Street bus terminal after the late spiritual Baptist leader Archbishop Granville Williams. It's coming from the Secretary of the Pan-African Coalition of Organizations, David Denny. Denny, who was speaking at a weekend rally in Independence Square, noted that the late religious leader conducted many services at the Fairchild Street terminal in the late 1950s, and such a move would ensure that Williams's legacy lives on.
And I want to call on the government of Barbados as Secretary of the Pan-African Coalition of Organizations I want to call on the government of Barbados to rename the MAY26 bus terminal and to name it after Granville Williams, so that the household people in Barbados will remember Brother Williams and will be able to identify if a spot that Granville Williams started his path and started his movement.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Catch the sun power.
To our regional neighbors now, in Jamaica to be exact, the UWI was hit by more protests today as church leaders, students and others pressed for the reinstatement of Professor Brendan Bain, the director of the Caribbean HIV/AIDS Resource Training Network. Bain was sacked a week ago for providing an expert report in 2010 brought by a gay man in Belize. More than 30 gay and human rights groups had written the UWI claiming they had lost confidence in Professor Bain as head of the training network. The demonstrators again placed masking tape over their mouths with the words "freedom of speech" written on the tape. They maintain that Jamaicans are disappointed with the action and they are calling on the UWI to issue an apology to Bain. Now, on the international front, a top official of Nigeria's military reveals he knows the whereabouts of the more than 200 girls kidnapped last month. But he is appealing for patience, declaring that the military will not use force to rescue the children. The schoolgirls were kidnapped in northern Nigeria last month by the militant Islamist group Boko Haram. The act was drawn international condemnation, and several countries, including the United States and the United Kingdom, dispatched experts to help in the search. That's been the 6 p.m. news update. Join us again at 7 a.m. But until then, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb. Subscribe to our e-paper and like us on Facebook to get more news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph.
This news update is brought to you by...
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Catch the sun power.